All right, guys, good afternoon. We've got ourselves another head coaching candidate profile to take a look at here, and this is another one that is very short, kind of like the one we did this morning. This is another one where there isn't really that much to talk about. I understand this one a little bit more than Aaron Glenn, I guess. We're still kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel here, and we're wishing upon a lucky star. When you're talking about a guy like Adam Stenavich, who, in fairness, has produced some notable things in his couple of years as an offensive coordinator in Green Bay. And I admit that I would like him more than some of the other guys we've looked at already. It doesn't really make that much sense why he would get to jump the line like this. I I even would look at a guy like Adam Stenavich and wonder why not just promote Waldron? What's the difference? What has Adam Stenavich done that puts him so far above a guy like Shane Waldron, who has produced decent to good results with not the greatest players to work with over the last 3 years here, who would allow for a pretty good amount of synergy and he we already know his system. We're already familiar with him. There's a lot of familiarization with him. So yeah, we're definitely getting near the bottom of the barrel here with some of these candidates, but this one some people are into. So let's understand why. It's not really hard to understand why. This is another one of these young hotshots that if you hit on, you're golden the same way the Rams are golden, the same way the Niners are golden, the same way the Packers are golden, which is appropriate because he's been coming up in that Packers coaching tree for a while now. Only 41 years old, so he could coach a long time, no problem. Last 2 years, he's been the Packers offensive coordinator. 2022, I mean, little alarming, right? He takes over that Packers offense, and they immediately go from one of the best offenses in the league under Nathaniel Hackett to a slightly above average offense, 14th in points per game, 11th in EPA per play. So we're like, okay, that's not good. Big step down, but there were other things going on there. Aaron Rodgers got a year older. They lost, I believe, Devontae Adams. Might have lost one or two other guys as well, but mostly those two guys. Mostly, we're talking Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers slipping. So, nevertheless, we're not off to the greatest of starts. However, this most recent season, he did some very impressive work with Jordan Love, a quarterback that a lot of people, including myself, was not really sold on. And Jordan Love has played well, and it seems like he's getting better as his first full season goes on. They're 12th in points, above average. And here's the kicker, they are fifth in EPA, so they have an elite offense by EPA per play. So, quite possibly, this is an elite offense that's just masquerading as a slightly above average one. And if we give them a little bit of time, if we, say, had a slightly longer season where things could even out more, they could end up with like some kind of top five offense. So that's definitely eye catching because the Packers receivers without Adams, it's not great, right? Like, who is Romeo Dobbs? Did you know who Romeo Dobbs was before this season? Did you know who Dontavius Wicks was? You knew who Christian Watson was probably, but that's about it. So I look at this and I do go, yeah, that's impressive. But at the same time, is it more impressive than what Waldron did in 2022 with Geno Smith, two rookies starting on the offensive line, and a beat up backfield? I don't know if I think it is. Not really. So basically, the Adam Stenavich hype stems mostly from that one season. Now, it is the most recent season, I understand that, and I understand that sometimes you have to jump on guys when they're on the come up, because by the time they get to the up, it's too late. But man, I just don't know. He hasn't produced one top 10 offense yet, right? He's had two above average offenses in scoring. That's where we're at. The year before that, 2021, the last time the Packers were truly elite, that was the one seed Packers. He was the offensive line coach and run game coordinator. They had a couple notable offensive linemen on that team. Elgton Jenkins and John Runyon Jr. were two of the starters. Notable players for sure. Their run game in terms of volume was about average, but in terms of EPA, it was actually very, very good. Sixth. They almost had a positive EPA on running plays, which is very rare. Most offenses are nowhere near positive EPA in running the ball. So impressive, but I'm not falling out of my seat yet. He was the offensive line coach purely for 2019 and 2020, and they had good offensive linemen. David Bakhtiari, remember him? Elgton Jenkins, Corey Lindsey, who would go on to sign that massive deal with the Chargers. Brian Bulaga, remember him? I think a lot of Seahawks fans will remember Brian Bulaga. So he did good work. There's no doubt about it. Coming up in that Packers system, he was doing his job. But with there being so many coaching candidates out there and so few spots left to fill, is Stenavich really the guy? I don't know. I don't want to sound like a hater. It's not like Aaron Glenn. Like, this is better than Aaron Glenn, but is it actually really good? Before Green Bay, he was an assistant offensive line coach in San Fran for 2 years, 2017, 2018. Two pretty bad years, but the Niners did have good offensive linemen like Joe Staley, Laken Tomlinson, who came over from, I think, the Jets and became a Pro Bowler in San Fran. Mike McGlinchey was developed, which I don't know how proud he is of that, but McGlinchey's become a good quality starter in this league, I guess. They also had a year of Trent Brown, the New England right tackle. He was played in Frisco for a little bit. And the year before that, the 2 years before that, he was a San Jose State Spartans offensive line coach. I looked at their roster. I didn't see anything notable in terms of offensive linemen, but it's a nice start to a resume, admittedly. And look, I understand. You have to get on these things quickly, because if you don't, somebody else will, and then you're never going to get the rabbit. But again, as of me recording this video, there are 6 openings for head coaches, and there are still guys like Jim Harbaugh, guys like Ben Johnson, guys like Mike McDonald out there. Mike Vrabel is out there. Hard for me to believe that Adam Stenavich should be joining that club of guys who are so good. Bill Belichick is still out there. So, yeah, I don't see it. I like where he's going, though. He's got a chance. I fully admit that. Like, there could be something special here. And if he does come in for an interview with the Seahawks, and the Seahawks get a good vibe off of him, and they feel like he'd be good at the head coaching responsibilities of being in the NFL, whereas somebody like maybe a Ben Johnson doesn't have leadership qualities in him, then I can kind of dig it. But too much too soon is my gut feeling. And look, guys, I know it's easy for us to say we want to take a big risk with this coaching hire, because I do. I do. It's not so easy for a guy like John Schneider to say it, right? Like, he'll be willing to take some degree of risk because everything is a risk. Literally getting out of bed in the morning is a risk. But there are safer options out there that have probably a similarly high ceiling. So, kind of feel like Seattle's just going to steer away from the true 700-foot home run swings. So, Stenavich, I mean, I like what he's done so far, relatively speaking, but not enough. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know if you see it with this guy. I will admit, I see this one. I do. I just can't quite see it the exact way that some people are. All right, go Hawks. More videos coming later. Have fun watching the playoffs today. Might be on Twitch. Hope to see you there.